That's the reality of things, that we all learn differently. And again, which is very, as we were introduced to, I mean, learning in school it's a different kind of learning. It's very, very different, because there it's learning is like learn for everybody, like everybody else. And so, yeah. And also learning, when you ask yourself, then learning for what? What do we learn? Or who do we learn for? You know, it's really about, again, the learning about yourself. The learning about yourself, of course, that's the eternal quest, knowledge of self. But how do we gain that knowledge of self? Which we already have, as children already know who they are. We just lose that. We lose sight of that because we get so indoctrinated with all this other stuff, with book learning and academic achievement and production and consumption and then competition. But we learn it through others. We learn about ourselves through others, in relationships. As we learn about the nature of another person, we really get to know ourselves better. And that's the whole point, to gain that knowledge of self, which is that eternal quest. Again, the journey to the promised land leads within. That's where we find the kingdom. And that is a matter of gaining that knowledge of self, which we can attain once we open ourselves up to the greater reality surrounding and connecting all of us, going beyond the self, beyond the me, what I want, what I think, what I like, what I know. Which most of us don't even know what they know, but we all follow our own knowledge. That's what it is, the whole process of evolution. It takes place, we all evolve, everything evolves. But for us human beings, to see what directs the process is really what we learn. And the lessons, we take from experience, they create our own reality and our own sense of self. But then also our sense of self becomes directed because of what we have been told by society. Life is this is how life is, this is what education is. This is what our government is all about. This is what learning is all about. This is what, God is all about. You know, we're told that we have the freedom to choose our religious views. That's where the picture becomes distorted, because we are told God is somewhere out there, and just like happiness is out there, and love is out there. And the most important thing is really what is required of all of us is to submit ourselves to the powers outside of us. Just like we are forced to submit ourselves to God. We are told the greatest sin is the sin of disobedience. So we are forced to obey in order to fit the mold. So yeah, that's also, again, the reality here to look at is that's how we lose our connection to our sense of self, our higher self, our God self, our God essence. Which later on in life we're trying to realign ourselves with that, you know, through all kinds of different practices. But again, that's the paradise lost. We all are that. We are already in that space as children. We're just taken from that. You know, we're thrown out of paradise, so to speak, in order to fit the mold, to do what we're told. This is where we become enslaved. And so to break our chains and to stand upright and to actualize our freedom, it's a matter of realizing that it's find your own conditioning and break through your own conditioning. Break through your own illusions and your own delusions in order to become real. And that reality is not just my unique reality, just a result of what I think and what I see and what I feel and I know and I like and I don't like and my perceptions and my routine, and just being attached to that. Something that we usually do not question anymore. And we just follow our own script. We all do that. When I say me, I always, what I basically mean is the me. The we is the me. Because that human experience which we all share is exactly that. That's how I experience life. I've lost that sense of self as I was forced to become like everybody else, basically. Forced into the mold. And that's something I always rejected as a child, and I was fighting against that. And rebelled against that. But eventually later on in life I found that I only hurt myself with that attitude. And of course there was a reason for why I rejected that. But by fighting against it I gave it more power. And I really hurt myself. And so the awareness also I took from that is that it is not really about the revolution, to be a revolutionary, but to begin on one's own evolution. The evolution is where the new revolution of this world begins, with an evolution from within. And that is not about fighting against what we don't want and how things have become and yeah, fighting our oppressors and the things that confine us or define us or restrict us or oppress us, the things we don't like. We need to live within the confinements of this world, you know, and that's the world that we have all co-created. We are all part of this world. But the new world is about to emerge, and we can allow for that new world to emerge if we wake up and consciously evolve into our essence, our higher essence, our higher self, that we realize to actualize as we begin on the process of learning. Instead of just, as we have been pre-existing in the old consciousness, just following what we want and looking for people who are the way we want them to, and then going from relationship to relationship and just going through the motions of life and just trying to make ends meet and trying to survive and all this stuff, which we have programmed to believe that's the way. Something we rarely, if ever, question. And so I hope that in these videos I can get you to question things a little bit more, to look at things that maybe previously you haven't looked at and you haven't really thought about. And I really think it's time for us to break through that in order to realize we are free, in order to realize what we're really all about, what life is all about. Not about pursuing happiness or looking for the promised land or looking for whatever it is we're looking for. It's a matter of being that. Just be that. And there you see that you're free, and we all are free.